Hi, we are just waiting for the match to start. We've got Team Vanguard and friends versus Team
Stacked Deck, national champions.
Should be noted, of course, that Stacked Deck allowed no team to score on them in the Nationals, while Vanguard has already scored against them during the Ohio Phoenix League.
You might be able to let me brag a little bit because I scored more on them than that entire kingdom.
It is not hard to exceed 0.
Just one was all I needed.
Don't forget it's sad. Oh, thank you.
Looks like everyone is ready to start. Both teams have to be nervous coming into this, although I think Vanguard might have to be a little more nervous, of course.
Vanguard's probably got a little bit more nerves considering they're up against the national champions, who they've been against multiple times. But Paint's been planning notoriously, trying to overcome everything they can do.
That just goes to show how dedicated these players are to their sport and to their craft. Both teams are looking great. We've got both teams in full garb for their respective teams. Teams have taken this seriously. We've got field pages on one side. I'm not sure if Stacked Deck has any field pages, but their team is completely ready with strategy. They've been taking so much time to prepare for this.
That's right. So much has gone into this. Vanguard could have easily walked into this accepting a defeat, but no. They're fighting hard like real warriors, not letting the happening Golden Veil affect them going in today.
Looks like teams are coming in.
Look like we're getting the customary handshake. Ooh, placing weapons on the field strategically ahead of time. A good move by Stacked Deck.
Falcons have used that strategy before, and it worked to great effect.
It has. Stacked Deck looking to maybe take a little bit of their playbook. Notable that Bane plays Monk in Phoenix Ball, which is a very interesting tactic considering Monk is not the strongest class in the tier list in Phoenix Ball.
You know, I feel like Monk's a lot stronger than people make it out to be. They do get to play a great front line. They can ignore a lot of the verbals, which are very strong in this format.
Bane is very good at playing as a field essence as opposed to a field priority. He frightens the opposing team and stands as a wall. And then whenever he needs to, he will hunt something down and use bare stick to make sure they can't do anything to him.
Yeah, don't mistake that sash. Bane is their front line through and through. They play a lot stronger with him in the front line. He controls the field, even just the Monk with no armor in that pole. Looks like teams are ready to go.
I'd like to take this moment to thank York for commissioning this entire OPL. Ohio Phoenix League has been great and has really shown some of the best class gaming that the Rising Winds and Midgard have had in a very long time.
Yes, this is probably one of the... I've seen on the local field these tactics come into the game and completely change the way we play Amguard. We will remember this as a post-Phoenix League game.
Everyone ready?
And we're getting ready to start.
Cameras ready? Zoc, Watt, myself.
It's like
Reeves,
Zoc,
York,
Watt, and York will be the reefs for this.
As Paint makes his way back to the Vanguard spot, we get ready to start the final games of Ohio Phoenix League.
This should be good.
Who do you think's gonna win?
I got my money on Stacked Deck.
Why?
The superior team.
What makes them superior?
Skill, strategy, and equipment.
I'm taking the underdogs. I think Vanguard can pull it off. If anybody can do it, they can.
It's gonna be shut out. Vanguard's gonna shut them out, huh?
Oh, no shutout, but it's absolutely going to be a hard-fought fight no matter which way it goes.
The
Hell
score is
yeah.
not going to show how close this game is going to be.
Let's do this.
And
All right.
they're off.
Raven making a strong lead to the flank. Bane
Raven taking a
coming
hard
in.
flank.
Juicy pulling up hard. We got shove on the pole.
Worth noting that Juicy has just now joined the Ohio Phoenix League team for Vanguard.
Suppression coming out. We've got flanking
And a
coming
hard
in.
flank. The ball's already in play.
Oh,
Ooh, Smurf,
Arrow
very
almost got
careful. Ooh, I think that ice ball might have got him, but no Reeve called it. Ooh, interesting. Nobody playing
point
the ball.
coming
There
off.
goes Bane.
Bane's pushing it in.
Here it is, and that's our first point.
So what happened there, of course, you can see is the flank come in from Raven. Timely CC on Juicy renders that front line incapable. Paint was caught out because of that positioning, because his wall basically disappeared.
Juicy is basically the greatest field threat that Stack Deck can see in this game, seeing as how he's very heavily armored. He's got that white Phoenix displayed prominently on his shield. He's fighting hard, but if he's CC'd, he just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, he may be immune to some of the CC, but the one thing he's not immune to is the spell balls, and I think that's what we're going to see. We do offer, looks like, 2 druids, so we're going to see lots of ice balls. It's what this game has been about and will continue to be about.
One thing worth noting.
Our Leon's back on. Raven coming in, same strategy it looks like. Looks like we got some enchantments coming in.
Having fought
Juicy's coming the other way. He's going to tie up Raven, it looks like.
Ooh, watch out. Paint had the ball. There's a lot of casting in there.
Dead's
Juicy.
coming in.
Ooh, Raven making the forward push. Ooh.
York almost got caught out.
Interesting.
Ice ball coming off.
The hard CC, we've got Smurf versus Air.
Oh, Frozen coming up on the mug. Good throw.
But forget the bucket. The bucket's been knocked over.
They're resetting the round. Bucket was knocked over.
Well, Vanguard definitely fought hard there. Great CC. Definitely trying to play on par with Stack Deck. Definitely trying to pull this out. This could be closer than anybody thought.
Good.
How close do you think it's going to be?
Oh, this is going to be great. No matter what the score is, it's going to be a hard-fought game, and I'm pretty sure Vanguard's going to give Stack Deck the greatest run for their money they've had, seeing as how they had perfect 10-0s in every game they had at National Championships.
It will certainly be a fight that we will remember for generations to come.
Oh yes, this championship game is getting legendary.
Remember, this
and it
is
is
best
starting to look like it could get really ugly really quickly.
This is going to be best 2 out of 3. Remember that. Terrain can change between games. So Vanguard opted to take their position on the field right now. Keep that in mind. The ball closer to them, but harder to get through the ball forward.
And they will switch places at halftime, so they'll have to deal with this. Each team will have to deal with the fortifications that they themselves set up in pregame.
I can't wait to see how they deal with this.
It's going.
Let's get back to the game here.
Letting this go and run right to the minute, it looks like.
A full minute is something that was used a lot at national championships. That way that the Stack Deck could not get a mercy rule before
A change in
the
strategy
halftime.
on both teams. Both teams playing a lot more passively.
A lot of enchanting is looking like happening on Vanguard's team, while Raven's taking a different stance than normal, going alone on the middle as opposed to the rest of the team taking the hard right flank.
Dispel coming off, extended. Looks like it's probably in.
Bane's pole has been shattered, but there is a plethora of weapons around the field.
They're ready for the shatters.
Men's shatters aren't going to be much of an effect on Bane with how many weapons are on the field and what his team can do for him.
Yeah, 2 druids, you got to think there's like men's everywhere.
But when you think of
One
what
might
he can
think-
do with that pole,
One might think right now that Stack Deck may be trying to run the clock.
I think that is a... Oh!
What an ice ball.
We got a Frozen off. We have some pushing coming in from Raven.
Raven
Pushes
recently
that flank
knighted,
hard.
being able to use his stick game against Juicy. Juicy and Raven well known for their relationship with each other, but Smurf just able to take it out.
Where is the ball? I don't see anyone
The ball
running
has
it.
not moved yet. So Bane is near the ball, and Bane is known for his use of the ball. He's also being fielded by Smurf.
oh, England, it looks like okay.
Got a Frozen coming off.
The bucket has been knocked over, though.
We're calling it point.
Called point. Juicy as well could be noted as being the only known archer on the Vanguard team that I can see right now, compared to how many Paragons are on the other team. Almost everybody on Stack Deck has a Paragon in their pocket.
That is true.
As
Although
well
we do
as-
have good class gamers on Vanguard's side.
Oh, Vanguard has been noted before. You can check the Amp Wiki as being the #1 class gaming company in the Rising Winds. However, Stack Deck is not a company. Stack Deck is a group of excellent class and battle gamers coming together.
You could say that the deck is stacked against them.
But it could be time to shuffle what's going on.
We will see. Currently, it's 2-0. Not out of the not out of reach for Vanguard by any means.
And remember, this game is sponsored by Sword Corp.
What?
What? What?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We have Leon coming in. We have a
Leon comes
new
in. The two teams going
on-field
up.
announcer. We have Void Touch coming in.
Void Touch, very useful, but what will it do against Stacked Deck? How will they utilize this to their advantage?
Note they have the Paladin. The Paladin Steal Life tactic is in effect.
Paladin Juicy, number 24.
Paint's coming in. Smurf reminding them to play fair. Frozen.
Juicy being pegged with an ice ball. Ooh, very close ice ball there.
Raven coming in, disrupting the
Kai
casters.
almost knocking over the bucket. Does a great job.
Kai coming in, or Kai's
The ball
dead.
has not been touched yet.
Raven's the big X factor in this match.
It's well noted that at Mimir's Wells, Ohio Phoenix League Day, Raven could not be there. Maybe that was what was setting it off to where Vanguard was able to score on them. Raven being a now Sword Knight, having multiple Paragons, he's very skilled on the field.
What's really great about Raven is his motor and his drive. He comes out there and he's always giving 100%. He does not tire out as quickly as other players do. He was playing in the battle game earlier. On this day, he played in a 4-game tournament in Fury's Nationals, and he doesn't even look like he's winded. He just has
Raven's
incredible
endurance could be
endurance.
well attributed to his training. As a Sword Knight, many Sword Knights take it upon them to have rigorous exercise, making it to where they can endure far more than other people when running around the field in a full-scale battle game. Raven is the peak of physical condition. He knows what to do and how to do it with his body, and can use that to his fullest advantage when he's on the battlefield.
And that is why he is on Stack Deck, for those physical attributes alone. The fact
And
that
we're
he
getting
knows the
ready to
game.
move forward again.
All right, we're going back into the round. It looks like it'll be it's 3-0 so far, if my count's correct.
3-0, but teams have come back from worse.
Extension Pena, Command Express. Extension Pena, Command Express.
Command suppression's coming out. Not sure on the range.
Cad's well known for being suppress heavy in Phoenix League. Some may think it's a worn trick, but if the trick does not work, he would stop using it. He has kept using it because nobody has
Dispel
countered it
coming
effectively.
off.
What a dispel. Juicy getting hit by another ice ball. Some may think that if being hit by an ice ball, it may be better sometimes to just take a death, as the 45-second death count is sometimes worse off on a team than just taking the frozen 60 seconds. And Bane with the ball, nobody able to stop him. Walks in and carefully places the ball.
That is 4-0 so far. I heard some play calling coming off on the other side. They're not spending the full minute, it looks like.
To look at what's going on.
The round before that, when you hit the pinning air, you hit my shield first, and then it didn't hit me in the armor, so I was like, oh, I'm hit. Well, I was like, you dropped the shield. I was like,
Come back, guys.
Brief discussions are going on.
Raven, despite his Sword Knight game regularity, is also very skilled in class gaming,
So
something
Stack Deck does
very
not want to take
valuable.
the full minute.
Ooh,
But Vanguard does. Interesting call. We may be close to halftime.
I'm surprised with Vanguard wanting to score so much that they take the opportunity to have a full minute whenever that only takes time away from their ability to score. Granted, it may also give Stack Deck less time to score, but still, what should they value here the most?
3, 2, 1,
All right, we have Leon. This may be the last round.
Again. A lot of suspicion of teleport on Stack Deck that Juicy will be moving forward, but Juicy is not moving forward trying to get the flank, a tactic notably used by an Averin in multiple games.
Looks like he got to have his Pro Sub duel on.
One thing's for sure, I think we could say Vanguard here is one of the best Phoenix ball players in the nation, being able to keep on par as they have before with Stack Deck in the past, multiple times.
A suppression error coming off,
Suppression
taking a death off of it.
Ooh!
Bane on Bane action coming in.
He's by himself.
He has 2 pole arms.
Here comes the
That's gonna
powerful
make-
flank. Ooh. Almost striking the head, but not quite.
Ball's coming in.
Kai not able to take advantage of the volatile state. Remember, if somebody has the ball and scores, they still have 1 second, and if they are struck in that second, that point does not count.
It's interesting to see if we go to halftime after this or if we go to the full minute. But we should be really close to that time period at this point.
Five minutes remaining.
We have 5 minutes remaining.
30 seconds.
We're ready. Oh, your voice is magical.
Ready. They're taking the full minute.
Vanguard is taking the full minute. Stack deck is ready to go.
Bane definitely looking to get his Paragon Monk.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In fact, many people
I
are
really like
stacked
this
deck.
strategy. Coming in with 2 pole arms when he's not ready to engage.
Ooh, intriguing. Is he putting one back out, or is he going to dual wield in an unprecedented feat of dual wielding a pole?
I doubt it. What I think he's really doing is he's confusing the shatters. He could drop a pole in order, and he has 2 red poles. That's the thing. They're going to have to differentiate between these sides, and that's going to add to the incantation. It's also going to add to caster confusion, as they're going to have to make that distinction on the fly.
In the moment, it also gives Bane the opportunity to block more, though he can't use each pole to its fullest extent. It is a better way. Oh, Bane's barely blocking some of the stuff, is using it as a blocking tool.
Yes, he is.
Destruction arrow.
Ooh, push on the... And the bucket is knocked over!
No forward momentum when scoring. No forward momentum when scoring.
So it could have been a score. It looks like will be negated by the disturbing the
Quite
bucket.
possibly more competitive than anything seen in Golden Vale this past weekend, though.
I think what opened up that play was the flank by Juicy. He came in completely disrupted. Everyone stopped exactly what they were doing to pull in, come in, and
And
see
the
what he
archer
was doing.
able to take advantage of that weakness in their ranks and was almost able to pull it off, but just had too much forward momentum when he was planting the ball, something I've succumbed to myself.
Yeah, a little discipline goes a long way in this game. Come in too hard and too fast, you're going to knock that bucket over. You have to mentally prepare yourself like about a few feet before. Start and make sure that you're planted when you drop it. Hopefully, that doesn't cause the bucket
A
to
lot
knock
of people
over.
have taken to kneeling against the bucket and then punching the ball into the bottom of the bucket, as that is a legal move as long as you do not slide.
All right, game has started. Possibly, this should be the last round.
Barely moving. A different forward line than Stack Deck is used to.
Juicy has Pro Subdual, and he's avoided a dispel so far. Pro Subdual is being the deciding factor for him. He needed that before.
Ooh, Juicy using
Good
full extension
teamwork
of terrain.
coming in,
That teamwork
exposing Cads. Raven's in the back line. He's
Ooh,
going to
the
make
phase
quick work
arrow.
all that.
Sadly, Juicy just can't keep it up.
All right, we've got another Paladin coming in.
I kept hitting the same
He's
one.
running in
A
hard.
Reeve almost getting run over when Air falls to the ground. Air is okay, though, thankfully.
Looks like it was a defensive fall, nothing more.
And Navrin standing on the spawn of the enemy team. Very dirty move, but not illegal, as you cannot respawn if you are within 10 feet of a living enemy.
Looks like he is also guarding the respawn. But the big deciding factor here, I think, is also going to be the enchantments. You see Juicy come in. He can't deal with 3 opponents with armor, and that's been a really big deal.
The phase arrow helped him a lot with Smurf, but sadly it wasn't enough as he got flanked by both Raven and other players.
I will give Vanguard credit, though. Catching Cads out was huge. Why baiting him with the dispel? You
pulling
know
the
he wants
expose.
to dispel. It's his job on the team, and they just catch him out with arrows.
Dispelling and suppression is Cads' job. But if he is pulled out too much to do his job, you can take very good advantage of it. But Cads, being a renowned battle gamer, could think about this in the future now and use that to his advantage, as it was not that much of a hindrance.
That is the downfall when you have specific jobs for specific people, because what ends up happening is if you telegraph what those jobs are, players can keep up on it.
Ooh, Vanguard opening
Vanguard's
with a forward
opening?
push.
Let's go, Vanguard. Let's go, Vanguard.
He's moving the ball.
Ooh,
So we have 40 seconds in the game. Dispel coming
Navran
off.
has been dispelled,
trading
but he
life
still
for it.
is armored. And Navran is behind Vanguard, and they
A
do
pinning
have
arrow
a
comes
forward
in,
flank.
and he is exposed for
Arrow.
30
And
seconds.
Navran has fallen in the back ranks.
He is
But
taking a
Smurf is
death.
on top of the ball.
Frozen coming
If there was
out.
a moment to push forward, this would be it. Raven distracted by Juicy, and knowing what Juicy can do with Juicy having all that armor. The volatile
Air's
state
dead.
taking care of Air.
Just getting another pull.
Oh, Raven coming in with a flank hard. And there is
Frozen
the
coming
CC.
off. This should be the score.
Bane walking in with the ball, and this should take us into halftime.
This is halftime. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, see where the teams are at. We'll come back at the start of the next round, take it in.
5, 4,
I feel bad for the poor guy over there. Trying to get in.
1, go!
And we are ready to go on the second round of the Phoenix League. Teams have switched sides. Teams have made adjustments. Let's see if they were able to turn it around.
And Shamit's in the beginning with
arrow
arrows
coming out.
poles, very
Looks like
prominent, but also a lot of armor on the field right now. Very good arrows at the beginning.
Definitely can see you. No long.
Frozen coming off.
Attention, Air. Come in this press. Air, you're press.
A lot of confusion on the field, but it does not appear to be affecting Stack Deck as much as Vanguard.
They've got great field position. They've taken midfield.
They have pushed forward hard, but
Raven's
there
coming in.
is
He's in the
nobody
back
on
line.
the ball right now. A very well-placed flank right now would be great for Vanguard, but they are just not in position for that.
They don't have a flank is the problem. Bane's getting ready to walk it in. They're setting up an edge.
Oh! Amazing play on Juicy's part.
Great.
No point. You should have put it in the bucket.
3, 2, 1,
You punch.
Juicy with a very well-timed unfreeze was playing it to the point.
This is why you can't necessarily turn your back on a frozen opponent, especially if it's been a while. 30 seconds is basically no time at all.
Juicy is very good at knowing when to take a death and when to just take the freeze. Knowing that 30 seconds for herbals but 60 seconds on a ball is very important. As 60 seconds frozen is shorter than is longer, my bad, than a 45-second respawn time whenever you die.
There was a clarification. No longer frozen should be the in-camp, but he said unfrozen. However, I believe we're chalking this up to no really maliciousness and gray area really exploited.
There is nowhere in the rulebook that I can explicitly find that would say you must say no longer frozen. I may be wrong there, do not quote.
It has been errated in.
It has been established.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And here
The next
we
round
go
has
again.
started. Vanguard taking a little
Strong
bit
forward
more.
push, but Raven able to sprint in armor. Something very notable is a very useful skill when on the field. Being able to move fast in heavy armor.
Actually, if the armor is fitted correctly, it should not affect his mobility. What it will affect is his endurance. But
His
we've
speed.
already established earlier that Raven has the best endurance probably in this entire game, probably in most of this kingdom.
Raven is very good at being able to
Paint's saying
endure
it's not
very
within
strong
range.
things.
I agree with them.
I would agree with him as well.
Ice ball getting blocked. Frozen coming off.
Smurf is frozen for 30 seconds. Ooh, breaking armor on Juicy. Juicy observing. Juicy is still alive with Raven behind him. Is Juicy still alive?
Pole coming out, but he's right next to a pole. You see,
And a point is scored on Stack Deck.
you see that technique I was talking about earlier is when he exactly
The perfect flank.
feet planted, ball in, No disturbs. Score is good.
An excellent job. They've already scored on them more than the entire kingdom of Golden Vale. And Crystal
We meant what we
Grove.
said.
My bad. This could very well establish Vanguard as easily the second best team in all of Amp-Guard at Phoenix Ball.
Well, that was an exciting development.
That
We'll
could
see.
change the morale and the tide of the game. While we do not know how this will end, with this being a best 2 out of 3, Vanguard still could very well come back and use this point to push them to victory in the end.
You done, right? You done, right? I hit him with a different ball.
All right,
And
here we go.
there is the lay on.
You killed me.
Can Vanguard do it again? Does Stack Deck appreciate them getting probably the most challenge they have had yet while playing Phoenix Ball? Ooh, Raven over. Ooh,
Smurf employing his team.
ooh, Cad's using a very, very little used technique of teleporting outside of bounds.
This has been clarified to be legal.
This is a legal move, though maybe not the most clear move. It is explicitly stated as legal.
Raven benches himself. Slow pickup on an average.
Sadly, he could not pull magic a second time this time. But who knows? Maybe somebody else on the Vanguard team will be able to come alive. But there goes a Navrin with that sneaky steal. Not able to respawn within 10 feet of a living enemy.
I took the pin. I wasn't moving.
All right, so
Metamagic person.
all right, so scores so far. Stack Deck is ahead. Vanguard has scored.
Vanguard definitely fighting harder now that they have scored. The morale is up.
Right, but I think what's really good is the emotions are getting higher. But we're seeing some sloppy play too. But I want to see them.
Very
get
true.
disciplined,
People using
tighten
less
that game up.
technique and trying to fight with more raw power. Now they have the energy and strength to do so.
They just need to form that energy into actual strength and discipline. All right, we're coming off. We have a very slow
I
start.
just hear that Cads has walked onto the field with lycanthropy.
Lycanthropy. It takes away that command suppression. Raven coming in. Going into.
Raven has protection from magic on him.
Raven out! Raven out!
Raven stepped out.
There is not a
ball
pickup on
coming
Raven.
out.
Oh! There were 5 living players on the field at a single moment for Stack Deck. However, it was
Raven
quickly
is
rectified.
benched.
Raven is benched, but Smurf and Anavin were stepping on the field at the same time.
It looks like that we're going to go ahead and chalk that up to confusion and let that one go, which I think is a good
That is
call.
a good way to play it, though it is not clearly semantics.
I feel like, Amp-Guard is always more fun played when you play by fun and not necessarily strict adherence to the rule. There's got to be some room for error given to players, especially at
Absolutely.
this level.
The primary thing when you're looking to play Amp-Guard is fun. Well, safety more so than fun. But this is also competition.
Yes, it is. I think I did not impact competition anyway, so I agree with the call not to let it affect play.
As do I.
All right, so
Match point for
Stack
Stack Deck.
Deck
Match
could
point
mercy
for
rule
Stack
this.
Deck.
If they score here, it will end the game. Vanguard is not only staying to stay within victory this time. They're playing now to stay in the game. Let's see if that changes their tactics any.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Next round is coming off. We have non-combatants leaving the field.
Raven, my power spell of magic, my power spell of magic, my power spell of magic.
Ambient extension coming off.
Raven, my power, my power. That's like you, Lisa. My power spell of the pool, my power spell of the pool.
It seems there has been some developing confusion on both sides of the field. Raven able to run. Oh, the bucket has been knocked over. There is still play on the field. There is still play on the field. Raven being very honorable, something that helped him get his sword belt.
We're getting ready to replay. Layouts called. We're back in.
Raven, a very respected member of the game. Sadly, Air gets pain playing the terrain very well, and the ball is on its way in. Cads has knocked over the bucket. I thought that was Cads.
Or Cads knocked it over that time, not you. Yeah, Cads knocked it over.
We do have a hold going on. Looks like we're going to reset. York has everyone in position.
Bane does have the ball, do remember that, but he does have a very large triangle and multiple players in between him and the bucket.
All right,
Keep
we're
in
coming
mind,
back on.
Bane has also been known to knock over the bucket when playing.
Point has been
There is
scored.
the point.
Almost thought Juicy was counting armor at that point. That is game. So,
And Stack Deck has taken the first out of 3 rounds. What a game.
That was an
Vanguard
incredible
already
display.
having played arguably better than any team that they faced at Fury.
yeah, I think what we're going to see in this game, doing game 3, is we're really going to see endurance come into play. I look for Raven to start really shining with his energy. On the Vanguard side, I really don't know of anyone who's going to have that on the same level of Raven, at least.
They have a lot of young players, but none as physically fit and active as Raven and able to go for long periods of time like he is.
I will say that on Vanguard's side, they don't have a lot of armor, and what they do have is just on one player. What we'll probably see is the casters able to hold their stamina better.
We're going to be moving on to a small break in between games in which the terrain very well may change for another game, changing up the tactics of the players in the next game.
We're having a sub, and Ash is coming in.
Ash
So we're
will
gonna
be
have
taking
fresh
in for
blood.
Vanguard. Interesting. That means Ash very well may be coming in for Juicy, though, as he is the only other person I can think of that would be playing as a Paladin, as it has been agreed.
What do we have to carry over? We can change class. Okay.
Interesting. You can change classes in between games. Let's see how this affects the game.
Let's see if there's going to be any new picks for classes and see if there are any new spell list changes.
Everybody knows what Stack Deck plays, but let's see if Vanguard is able to take advantage of the ability to change in between and see if that can throw off Stack Deck just enough to score some more on them.
All right. With that in mind, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll let both teams set up. We'll come back for game 2, see what happens here. All right, let's go ahead and get a word from the audience, see what they thought of the game so far.
What are you all thinking? Durio Lightbane, you have anything to say about the game going on in front of you?
Oh, are they?
Nope.
Okay, that's.
All right, let's move on.
Wise words.
Well, to be fair, like, we're clearly cheering on Vanguard because it's more interesting to watch the underdog win.
Fair.
Yeah. We don't hate them, but it was like, well, it's boring if they win. We've already seen that like 15 times.
We want to know what's going on, and that's
It's old news.
so it's basically like for you to me, you're just like.
What about you? Anything you would like to say?
I like sports ball.
Hey.
No, it's enjoyable to watch, and it's been a great game so far. Good highs, good lows. I love it.
How do you feel about the game so far?
I think it's going pretty good. You know, Vanguard lost the first round, but Hogman's a sneaky motherfucker. If he spots any opening whatsoever, he's gonna run it. He's gonna gun it.
Yeah, I felt like he should have had 2 scores, but with lack of discipline on his, it cost him the score, unfortunately. He need to make the notable corrections to make that score happen on the second try. So, who do you think is going to win this?
Oh, it's gonna be stacked deck. The national champions. I want to see Vanguard do well against them.
That's fair. Do you feel the game is as close as the score suggests?
Well, what I'm saying is it would be someone.
It really depends on whether or not they can get their teamwork together and stop. They kind of fall apart when they get pressured towards their base. So.
Good insight.
All right.
All right, let's go ahead and get word from I think he's gone.
Mid-game.
Well, I was going to work from the autocrat. Looks like he is doing autocrat.
There is Commissioner York, but
Let's go ahead and get word from Zoc instead. Zoc, what do you think of the game so far?
Well, it's pretty much going as I predicted. Well, a little less than, I didn't think, I thought Stack Deck would continue their roll off their high of national champion and getting a shutout, but that's obviously not the case. So I don't think Vanguard has the, especially another game in them, the motivation and the stamina to remotely come back for a third game. But we'll see. They're full of surprises. And
well, if they don't win the next game by rules 2 out of 3, they would be out in 2 games.
Right.
So I guess we'll see what happens if we have a third game. Other than that, I think it would be great to see it. Any predictions?
Stack Deck, after fighting them and having interviews with them in the past, they're not going to mess with their winning strategy right now. They're coming out strong in force. They're probably just going to tighten up the bolts of the, watching Hogman sneak around the corners and whatnot, and watching keeping an eye on the people that they've kept frozen for 30 seconds or so, because that's the only thing that's really nipped them in the butt right now.
Do you think Ash will make a difference with stepping in for Juicy?
Possibly, definitely endurance and speed. He doesn't have I don't think he has the blocking capability of a percentage as high as Juicy, but he also makes up for it in a battlefield presence, as promoting himself as the leader and commander, and can really morale the troops. Juicy's a lot more quiet on the field when it comes to those kind of things.
Do you see any class changes?
I haven't seen anything specifically yet. I don't think Stacked Deck is going to change up much. They're pretty solid with their Monk, 2 Druids, Warrior, Paladin. But I haven't seen it, and I don't see anything on Vanguard so far. Other than Ash coming in. Is he coming in as an anti-Paladin?
Possibly.
I'll have to see.
So he's not classed up yet, so I'll have to see.
Oh, he's got armor on.
Yeah, I imagine he will armor up.
what class he plays, though, is to be seen. Though, considering you do play your level in Phoenix League, he is probably going to be an anti-Paladin or a Warrior.
I think we got great word. Let's go ahead and take another small break. Get ready for the next game, see what happens.
30 seconds to game start.
All right, the 30-second head
30
count.
seconds!
Okay.
Stack
That's what
Deck
we
not
game 2.
changing much. Vanguard picking up Ash, dropping Juicy, possibly due to Juicy getting worn out when wearing such heavy armor.
I see 2 wizards, same makeup. I see about the same makeup over there. Oh.
Here we go. And the second game has started. 2 bows already on the field with an elemental barrage archer out. Very interesting.
Sorry, buddy.
Ash already taking a charge forward, trying to put a stop to a Navran.
Point up for a right leg. I'm frozen. I'm frozen.
Lightning bolt coming off.
Ash using his field awareness.
Frozen. Staying frozen. Weapon destroyed. Hitting arrow. Panama. Are you also leg? No. Okay.
A regular start, a lot of ice balls freezing.
Elemental barrage laundry basket build. I love it.
Very interesting. Allows you to carry a lot of balls really easily.
Stretch here.
Very good of Vanguard to have pages to save them time in between games.
Hitting arrow.
Ash is frozen. I believe it was a 30.
He's insubstantial.
A hard push already on Vanguard, and Stack Deck has scored their first point.
Hey. What kind of saw that? I am so drunk.
Doug Trio. Cad's name for himself. I'm going to have to remember that one.
Always seeing especially creative use of spells from Cads. New teleport technique coming out with the instantly coming back.
Hey, Dom. Throw me that one. Throw me the one you've got.
Cad's with a solid technique
He
in
died so we can refill him.
instaporting, as it was called by Watt, teleporting in and then teleporting out. Cads is making very good use of teleport. He does know the rulebook in and out, especially on Wizard. Also aiming for his Paragon Wizard after his recent displays in class gaming. Getting ready, about 7 more seconds until we get this game going.
We're getting ready for the second round.
Second round.
3, 2, 1,
All right, we're coming
And
out.
they're off.
Ash
Slow
collecting
forward
some sort
pushes
of
out of
enchantment.
each.
It's from a healer, so it must be a pro mag or immune to some sort of school.
A lot of enchantments on the
First
field.
duel coming out.
Does happen with many druids. Bane wielding 2 poles again.
off the ground.
Fireball coming out.
Ice ball. My kid.
Ooh, that lightning bolt might have gotten Bane, at least in the garb. Remember, lightning bolt is engulfing. Ooh, notable that Bane was struck in the arm by a fireball. And here it is.
Coming out the abeyance with the kill.
He's gonna score.
And the point is scored. Air just couldn't keep them all off on her own.
That's a great job though with that abeyance coming in. Ignores armor.
Excellent.
Comes in and you just bring it in for the kill.
Very good use of healer abilities. Abeyance is a very strong ball, with the stun state being an incredibly useful thing, which is why it is not an engulfing ball. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's not engulfing, but it does ignore armor.
Very
That's the
important.
important distinction.
30 seconds.
Stacked Deck's winning strategy is still keeping up. Not sure what the morale on Vanguard's part is right now, but they are still fighting hard and trying as hard as they can. Also still trying to get a lot of sneaky points in there, which is probably their best bet right now to score on Stacked Deck.
Ash is switching to a shield.
Interesting.
He's had an interesting effect on this game. He had the persistent pro subdual that could really
He
help
also
him out.
has a very intriguing field charisma that leads people to fight behind him.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play on.
Very interesting.
Naturalize coming out on Kai. If she can stay alive.
Baseball's on the left.
Naturalize on Kai.
Notable
Breaking the
naturalized
action.
magic on Kai.
Yes.
Raven using his stick game to his advantage. Very strong
Release
fight,
coming
very
off.
important,
Rank.
but with Ash not able to hold off so many players on his own. The bucket has been knocked over!
York making
During
a
a
call.
score.
Calling it a reset.
Hard call by York. Sadly, that does put a damper on Stacked Deck strategy. Maybe Vanguard can use this to their advantage. They were getting hammered pretty hard.
Calling
I'm
it
sure
a scoring
Smurf and Bane
effort.
will be careful from this. Yes, Bane was definitely intending to score the ball right there. That much is clear. Bane is the scorer.
Score right there, but while they're fighting around me.
Bane very good at what he does, but alas, the rest of his team, in fact, got in his way. A little bit of crumbling at the seams.
I don't know about that. A lot of it's coming down to, I think, fatigue as well. When you get tired, you know, your movements are becoming a little more forced as you're pushing through.
It is notable
tiredness
that
and
Stacked
pain.
Deck does have a little bit more age on their side
Time
than
check.
Vanguard, though they do have a lot more health and experienced gamers on their side than
Also
Vanguard.
say those buckets are really notoriously easy to knock down.
Oh, absolutely. Having knocked them over a plethora of times myself, I can confirm.
We've knocked them down about 3 times last game. This is about 1 time in this game. We're probably about,
I'm sure we haven't seen the last of it yet.
I imagine we'll have about the same, if not maybe 1 or 2 more buckets knocked over this game.
Ironic, the Tyrant trying to stop the Tyrants of Phoenix Ball. Notable that Ash has replaced Juicy as the Paragon on the team of Stacked Deck, though he is not playing a class that he has a Paragon in.
Yeah, what class is he playing? I'm
I
not seeing
believe
his
Ash
device.
has been playing as an anti-paladin. I do not see a sash on him.
Anti-Paladin has
I can
some
only
pretty
assume.
useful, I believe it's command flame.
Very arguably better than Paladin.
I don't know if flame actually makes a difference in this game because I don't see like any lightning bolts coming out.
Mostly has been ice balls that have been coming at Ash's team.
Then again, I didn't see much death either, so therefore, flame for death, it doesn't matter.
That's fair. A lot of Death School magics do get outclassed in this game due to the crowd control aspect of this being a lot more useful. Kai taking advantage of what she can. Kai pushing.
Kai in the back line.
Kai just doesn't have the combat speed to be able to take on Smurf. Bane healing himself in the middle of a Phoenix ball game.
Asking if Kai is dead while she is walking outside the field.
Interesting. The ball is in a very interesting spot. A Navran doing what he's used to.
Never ready for someone to come out.
Waiting for somebody to come out. Maybe they'll get that respawn whenever he's there, and he just able to pick them off as they walk out.
He doesn't
like
have to pick them
whack-a-mole.
off, he just has to stop them. That's
That's
all
fair.
it needs to do.
Crowd control is not just magic. Bane has proven this well before, being just simply a wall with poles that the other team cannot get across.
There's a thing that people don't realize about the game is that the game isn't just about killing. When the objectives are involved, the game is about getting the objectives score. You can theoretically win a game without getting any kills. Now that's probably not going to happen.
A large
in
downfall
most
of many teams is their inability to play the objective, which has even before gotten stacked deck to lose a few points whenever they lose focus on the objective and try to focus more on keeping the other team back, which is arguably a very good strategy, but still it has led to most of the points that have been scored against them to be done.
All right, we have 10 seconds until the next one on. We haven't seen
on stack deck was, I believe, Mystic Falcons Gray, as Mystic Falcons Purple were able to score on them, correct?
That is true, I believe. I believe we got a score off on a lucky engagement.
Nonetheless, that just shows that they're able to take advantage in the flaws of stack deck.
All coming off on Ash. Frozen coming in. Kai's frozen. That flank.
Bane and Raven switching their positions.
That engagement went very, very poorly on Ash's side, being out.
And here comes the push of the ball.
Raven, hands up. He's going to eat that.
Raven knowing how to play.
Oh, that was a risky score. That almost disturbed it.
That could have very well knocked over the bucket, which would have been the second time that Smurf has knocked over the bucket, which would lead to a penalty on stack deck.
Yes, they have knocked over twice, but you see very, very, very slowly, he stopped for just a split second, made that.
Point invalid as Smurf was stopped at the time.
Oh, okay, so we're going to
Great call on Yorick's part, knowing what happens in the game, making sure it goes as smoothly as possible to avoid anything and everything, making sure this game comes down to skill and skill alone, not some fluke call by anything going on in the game or somebody not noticing something.
Because the Reeves screw also has been a great
The
job.
Reeves have been excellent.
Here.
This is not on their fault. This is just the heat of the game getting in the way. And I'm glad that Commissioner Yorick has been able to do what he can.
All right, we have 10 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now!
All right, here we come.
And here comes Stack Deck, led by the devil, Bane himself, Bane the bounty killer.
Ash is getting pulled up.
Raven is not far behind, being a front wall, pushing on Ash.
Release,
A
great release
lot of
coming up on
magic.
Ash.
Ash still pushing forward. Ash trying to keep up with Raven, but with so many other people around him, he just can't do it. Raven wielding the ball.
Raven looking like he's going to try to move it in. He's got to be careful if Kai comes up. Ah, wait.
Cannot throw the ball. tragic! Scoring attempt again! Stack deck crumbling at the seams. It's like I'm seeing the Four Horsemen fall apart again.
Happens. It happens to the best of them.
I'm sorry, boss. I forgot how to book it.
Cad's taking it lightly, all in jest, having a lot of fun out there despite what's going on.
Has to remember they are in the lead. We're getting hydration coming in. Smurf, great leader on that team. He's obviously the one calling all of the shots. But I think a lot of people thought it would be Cads. I think Cads is the strategist.
I think Anavrin is actually also a very well-hidden tactician, not often being on the field, even sitting down whenever he's not on the field, but very meticulously plotting what he is going to do.
If you listen to the sideline, when you're hearing people telling them to, stay light, play fair, be a good sport, it's coming from Smurf. Smurf being a great source of character for the stack deck. Reminding them, to take it easy, not get mad, because honestly, if they get mad, that's the chance Vanguard has to win here.
You can see what just happened right there with a little bit of lack of consistency in between their team.
It looks like...
Very ironic. But will they be penalized for this? I do not believe so, as it was not Smurf that made the offending turnover.
We do have 4 in the field.
Notable that Vanguard only has 3
Vanguard's
on the
only
field.
fielding 3.
And Air walks out. Destruction arrow striking Cads directly in the chest.
Bane coming in with 2 pulls.
Arrow's very useful in this matchup. Smurf using the raw ink on Ice Ball. An amazing catch by the terrain on that arrow. What a push. Though that would have been a great time for Air to play the ball. Anavrin is behind him.
Behind.
Volatile state. Bane has died, falling to the volatile state. Paint doing the best he can to keep the ball from moving forward, but Raven is in his way.
Ash tried to make,
They could not do it. Smurf was able to score.
Paint tried to make one more play with the spell ball, but unfortunately wasn't able to do it.
A valiant effort, though. He has seen people do that before on the field, being able to pull off a very late spell ball to strike the volatile target as they are scoring.
Other good thing, he had the blocker up front. It's really hard to really threat someone behind when someone is actively in the way. That makes it a little easier for the block. And then, of course, you had an excellent lead by Smurf to avoid that spell ball.
Very excellent. Smurf, despite what he's seen in life, not being the most physically active person, able to still do what needs to be done when it comes to it. An excellent catch by the terrain on that arrow. Nobody reclaiming said arrow. That'll be quite the kicker for me for the remainder of the game. Oh, almost excellent.
Watt making the minute adjustment on the ball. Master of his craft.
I recommended you for an Order of the Mask while playing John Madden.
3, 2, 1,
Excellent commentary by Watt.
Bane coming in by himself, 2 pulls.
Bane has been doing an incredible job doing out-of-the-box techniques as a monk. Definitely wanting that Paragon monk, as many members of Stack Deck are trying to become Paragons after this. One could say that he definitely deserves it.
He's a good monk. He defines their team. We have a Frozen coming off in the golfing effect on the
Definitely able to bust the stereotype that monks are not a useful commodity in Stack, and not just Stack Deck, but in Phoenix Ball in general.
Ash dodges that spell ball.
Kai very happy on the field, not sure why.
Enjoying the game,
Ash is the freshest member on Team Vanguard.
Watt is making a call.
It is never a good idea to argue with the Reeves decision in this game. And we have entered overtime. I believe Smurf was struck by a sphere of annihilation, though I'm not sure if it was a direct hit and so much of the tail or
Smurf
hitting his
gets
guard.
that ice ball coming off.
Smurf very well done on that ice ball. Raven charging the field. Bane excellent with that pull, knowing what to do. Archer playing well, knowing what to do, not just shoot somebody, but wait for the volatile state. Raven getting a little mouthy with Bane even. Raven does not appreciate the lack of sportsmanship from Bane.
Teams will self-correct over time.
Death arguing with the devil as we enter halftime. Let's see how this affects Stack Deck as they move forward.
All right, well, that's been a great half. Let's go ahead and take a short break. Both teams will rest up. We'll see what happens. This is game 2. Stack Deck could end it here. Let's see what happens.
Getting ready to come back from halftime of OPL, what very well could be the last game played.
Scores so far 0-7. Stack Deck could mercy rule at the end to do like they did before. Vanguard's probably looking to get on the board.
Vanguard must carry a lot of pride in how much they've been able to score on Stack Deck in the various games they've played with them as we get ready to start the game.
For Vanguard, they have a very long hill to climb if they want to stay in this tournament. Some confusion on the field at the start. Like I said,
Stretch arrow.
Ooh.
Champion's being called, arrows being fired.
Hogman has been a very efficient archer throughout Phoenix League, something I haven't seen yet at all, in fact. Only being able to see assassins and other things, but he's making very good use of the abilities. Hogman responding by being suppressed by just pegging Cads in the leg with the arrow. This would be a very good time to take a left flank for Vanguard, as there is nobody guarding the left flank.
I'm not sure that they have the ability to flank it, though.
They do know that they can move fast and that Raven can do what is needed, but it would have been good to gain some field position.
Bane, I'm not sure if they had an enchantment.
Bane did just swing at an arrow, however.
Interesting choice not to release. I'm not sure if he didn't have it or if he wanted to.
Ooh, interesting to see what's going to be going on here.
Ash waiting to come out.
And the ball comes out. Cad scoring even though he is armed. I assume he was holding his arm behind his back.
Point has been called. We do have the point for Stack Deck.
That is a point. There has been no indication otherwise, though there did seem to be a little bit of confusion on the field very near the end of that round.
Yeah. Okay, making sure. That's almost why I called the wrong ball. Yeah, so you're fine.
A wrong call on the field. Not sure if they mean by a Reeve or by another player, but they were fine. There was only inconsistency in the calls. The point stands.
This is going to be 8-0 coming in.
Going to be 8-0 with 2 more points. Stack Deck could mercy rule this. Can Vanguard come back and at least get on the board?
Slow start for this one.
You've got to be wondering what people's endurance is like at this point. How much they're able to keep going. I've seen nobody show very vivid signs of exhaustion yet, but that has to be hitting them by now, being deep into the second game of Phoenix League they've played today.
You can't see it from the video, but the heat is coming in. It was
the
cool
heat has
yesterday,
risen.
but
The
there's
rain,
no break from the sun.
Not a cloud in the sky.
I'm on a barrage on paint.
Suppress an arrow.
Iron skin on Bane.
Come back.
Fireball.
Interesting. Very close to each other, using that wall to the best of their ability.
Bane is frozen.
Pinning arrow.
I was under the impression Bane had been frozen.
Pro Mag coming up.
Pro Mag.
Innate, dispel magic. You're insulted.
Hogman steals it with a
Hogman scores right behind them. Nobody able to realize it. Excellent job by Hogman. Pushing that ball like it's nobody's business. Taking advantage of every flaw he can find. Hogman just doing a great job playing the objective. What a play.
what really got that played is he had no hesitation. He saw the opening. He did not wait for them to see him.
Bolted.
He
did
bolted
not,
in.
He did not let anybody know what he was doing until it was too late already.
And no one even noticed what he did until the score had already happened. They were fighting themselves when they called. So, all right, so that changes a little bit here. We have 1-8.
The morale is up. We don't know how long this game will last, but it is Vanguard on the field.
Vanguard's still fighting to stay in this game.
Hogman pushing hard, definitely wanting to play the objective. No loss of morale, especially after that last play. Hogman being able to pull it out of nowhere. Has got to be happy that their team is pushing like they're able to.
Smurf using that dodge to gain ground.
Cad's taking a very good call. Hogman pushing for the ball again, but just couldn't get it.
Baseball coming out. Score comes in.
Score from Stack Deck. Sadly, Hogman lost his arrows in that little kerfuffle. Oh, this day's making me want to make an Ohio Phoenix League commentary tunic for multiple of us. We need to get a table out here. It'd be excellent for us to be sitting at a table.
I would love to sit.
I'm not even so much sit, but just being able to fully immerse ourselves in the sports ball conversation.
I will say,
gentlemen,
Hey, that one arrow is
if you were true sports commentators, you would be on the field in the deep, commentating in like full plate. You know this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of being in some kind of like.
Could you imagine
like,
some
dressed up as Smoke from Mortal Kombat?
Like
Look at you.
Luke
You're in
Skywalker.
fucking flip-flops.
I
and
know what
shorts.
I'm in.
Jesus Christ.
This is what I fight in. Don't judge me.
I'm not judging you.
It's not my job to fight. It's my job to commentate, and I'm doing the best I can, and I'm comfortable doing it.
Jesus Christ.
All right, game has laid on.
And the lay-on has started. Let's see what Stack Deck and Vanguard pull out from here. Hogman leading with his arrows again, notably a destruction arrow.
Ash is insubstantial. Let's see what happens out of this.
Ash is a Paragon assassin and knows how to utilize the insubstantial class to the best of its ability. Ash has been frozen after that prolonged teleportation. Those
It's a
Smurf
30-second frozen only. He may be counting on that.
And it has taken a Navran out of the game so far, and sadly Hogman has stepped out of bounds.
Taking the death because he walked out of bounds.
Honorable, very honorable. The ball is in play though. And Cads has scored.
Over here. All right, this is it.
And here we are, possibly the last point of the game. Match point.
I don't know if that hit me or not. One more. But I stepped out of bounds, so I had to.
Yeah, I don't think I hit you. Like, you ran right past it, but yeah, you ran right into it.
So, I would have called that. Is there a limit to the amount of times we can call celebrate?
We have some commentary by the
Autocrat
people watching, but unfortunately they're not a member of the Reeves team. All we can do is take what they say into account for next time.
Ash looking for a ruling on something, not completely sure.
There was no continuous silence. They ruled in your favor. That's all I want. Silence. I held my neck.
Smurf pointing out that he did have a very prolonged syllable, but it is legal as per the rules of play. A little cheesy, maybe, but Stack Deck will use every advantage they can to make sure they pull a victory out at the end.
Competing at the highest level requires that.
It may not always be honorable, but if it is legal and rather not honorable, and they prove themselves the best at competition,
Phase arrow
a
comes
phase
in.
arrow pulling Bane, getting him.
Frozen comes in though.
A lot of good use of magic.
Trade a phase for a
But field
Frozen.
essence, Raven being able to pull himself and pull a lot of aggression. I'm not sure, I was not looking if Ash did step out there.
It's not our call to make Reeves calls.
It's not our job. And the point is scored.
All right. Well, that was a hard-fought.
Very hard fought.
close to the
Vanguard
same
not
game.
getting a goose egg in either match they play today. I have been Artorias Dragon or Ebon Moon here in my red athletic shorts and flip-flops.
Well, that was a great match. Hard fought on both sides. Stack Deck comes across as the winner. Round of applause.
A
For
lot
the
of
top
sportsmanship at the end. Very honorable.
I think definitely what got to this game is better planning, better equipment, better fielding.
It has
All
definitely
around.
proven a valuable commodity to have Phoenix League and Amp showing what people can do as class gamers.
It was an exciting match to be told. Tempers got high, but at the end, I think we all left as friends.
We have our autocrat Rickus walking up. Do you have anything to add to the commentary booth?
I mean, it seemed like this game was more competitive than anything that happened at Fury, so
Do you think
I'm
the
good.
score very easily reflected what the actual game was like?
I think so. Stack Deck's a top-tier team in the nation. I think the only way to truly prove that is to see something that's truly a national event at an event like Keep, where we have a larger breadth of audience. But I would bet money that Stack Deck could beat any team across the nation.
Oh, that is a very, very powerful point. Well, let's go see what we can find around here.
Let's get some commentary from some of the players, like these guys over here.
Dude, his face just went
Navrin?
Gentlemen, commentation.
Paint if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I love
You want the one
commentation.
from each team thing? Or?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Everybody,
if you
everyone wants
want to
commentate.
talk, get in here.
Get in there. Many people as you want. Start asking questions.
So,
All
gentlemen, who do you think was the MVP for each team?
Oh, for the other team, trying to figure out who we had the most. Oh, Hogman, by far, the guy that scored 2 points. Absolutely, he could bust through that middle, and it caused us a little bit of arguing and bickering amongst ourselves because we missed him a few times. So I'd have to say most definitely Hogman's the MVP of the Vanguard team.
Say Raven. He controlled the battle.
Raven did have a lot of field essence. Something notable, there was a little bit of a comedic falling apart for the audience that we saw you guys. Bane taking a lot of time to score his points, a couple of knock over buckets. What are you guys' comments on that?
Oh, well, we've been driving 30 hours in the past 2.5 days, or 2 days. So at some point, we're not gods. Fatigue will set in.
That asphalt was a serious competitor.
You know, over the period of competition, your mental state can get laxed, or when you start getting a little euphoric and you start missing some stuff. The trait of a good team is typically a comeback, and I think we pulled it together at the end, but you guys were shoving it down our throat every round we're faulting.
Should I ask this beautiful Vanguard guy here a question?
Well, you guys did really good. What do you got? Hogman, he's not been any games I've seen before. What can you tell me about Hogman? What can you tell the audience about Hogman, what he did for you guys? He was a very powerful player on your team.
Hogman's whole strategy, sit in the back, suppress fire, and he's our opportunist player. So his whole thing is just to be ignored and then just run the ball as soon as you can.
I can relate. He was very good at taking advantage of weaknesses in their flanks.
Yep.
Hey, what are some positive takeaways you have from this game?
From this game?
Yes. Well, this game and the first game before.
You have been the most competitive team to play against them so far.
Including all of Golden Vale NCG.
Woo! No shame?
I think that's really hard to play against a team that if you dispel them, they'll stick you. If you don't dispel them or you kill all their fighters, they're still just going to magic you to the ground. So we tried to be a little gimmicky in order to take advantage of not being able to bring in more weapons, but they brought in a lot of weapons that first round, which hurt us. But overall, I think it was well played. We scored.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We did better than most people, or everyone actually.
Fair. I've seen our cameraman pointing a little bit over to Ash here.
What? Oh God, this is a bad time.
Yeah. I'm aware it's a bad time.
I'd like to point out.
What do you have to? Oh.
Ash asked the question.
What?
Mine
No,
was
I
more
don't
related to
think-
Payne Zyler. Payne Zyler talked about adaptability and bringing extra equipment. Vanguard in the past has been using spells like Pyrotechnics, Heat Weapon, and their healer has like bands and stuff like that. So we had to augment what kind of equipment we were using. I brought a small punch shield. Bane brought out an extra pole arm. I brought out multiple swords because I know those were their guys' main weapons. So as much as they were learning from us, we were also learning from them and how to play this game. It was not mutually exclusive in learning.
A lot of people look at like how you can adapt to other people, and people don't realize, you know, adapting comes on both sides of the field, which is why I think it always comes down to who's the better team. Do you guys have any future plans for your team?
I'd like to stay with my team. I've known most of them for 15 years. We perform well together. There's not a lot of ego on our team, and we communicate very well. So I think I'm going to stay on my team.
Okay, excellent wording.
This is my first Phoenix League game, actually, really, other than...
In general?
Well, no, I played one at a Kingdom event, but especially in the various circuits, I never played before, especially the Vanguard team, so it was a lot of learning to be done. And, you know, the Vanguards proved they've played a lot more matches than I have, so...
How did this game differ from your experiences in pickup games?
Well, there was intention. There was a plan. You know, you can go play any amp guard game at any Kingdom event, and you get separated into two sides. And a lot of times you don't have a chance really to plan anything. You're gonna have to just take what you have available to you by the chance and fate and make it work. Whereas, you know, like for example, why would a monk use two palms? You know what I mean? But like here they would, because there's a lot of incoming like things for the monk to block with
really
those
hard
palms.
to get a heat weapon off or a shatter weapon off when you have to differentiate
Or even,
weapon
I mean, you know, it's not even that. It's like, you know, we had Dyer here, who's, you know, pinpoint archer. We had spell balls coming in, and the monk ability to you know, cancel the magic ball. We're having two of those out. That's not something I think that, you know, if you were in just random amp card game, you wouldn't say, well, there's gonna be a lot of arrows and magic balls. I better painstakingly bring two pole arms.
Very meta.
Yeah, it's very meta. And so for when a meta exists, you get to see more interesting plays. And losing to interesting things is almost as fun as, you know, winning with them, almost.
I think over the course of playing with Vanguard over the summer, I've seen them develop themselves a lot. They've gone through a lot of different strategies and kind of figured out different things to figure out how they want to express their skills in the field. And I think today was probably the best expression of Vanguard we've seen thus far. And through their experimentation, we could see what they did. They did a really freaking good job. Like, it was nice. It was fun to compete against, too.
Okay. Excellent wording.
Well, thanks very much. Congratulations on your win. Good luck in your Vanguard and your guys' future endeavors. I know you're not necessarily part of, but you know, we'll see. Whatever team you guys end up on, I do wish you guys luck in the future.
And we move on to the man himself.
Oh, what the fuck?
Commissioner Yorick.
What's up, man?
All right, Yorick, you got to be feeling great after this game. You know, it was a great match. I think this is going to be one that people are going to watch, you know, for years to come. How did this league, how did this league play out and compared to your visions of what it could be?
So, for a first season, this has been pretty awesome. There's been a lot of player growth. I've mentioned before online, Rickus, Paint. Bane Xylor really stepped up huge today. It's making everyone better players. Everyone's having fun. Some people have said this is the most fun they've had in Amguard. So that's what makes this fun for me. So looking forward to next season starting in February, running till May. So
any future plans you could tell us about your plans for this next season?
Next season is going to expand from Ohio to also hit Indiana and Kentucky.
Excellent.
So we're going to spread this bitch as far as we can.
Do you feel like we're more competitive in the Ohio Phoenix League and probably whatever the name ends up becoming if we move outside of Ohio than perhaps Fury was?
I'm going to say we're the most competitive area of Phoenix League, and any team that comes in is going to have a hard time against our teams. This is where the cream of the crop is.
Bold statement.
And if you want to rise to the top, you got to come through Stack Deck.
All right.
Not wrong.
Well said. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, no
I wish you luck
problem.
in your
Thanks
future endeavors.
thanks for the commentary, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. And thank the cameraman. Come on. Show space by the camera.
on yourself.
Stop.
Oh! Hey!
All right.
Excellent job.
Give us a few words to send off on.
All right, well, this has been awesome. It's really fun to watch kind of from like, you know, the from outside looking in, I guess you could say, because it's weird to be able to see all the things going on, but like I don't want to say anything because, you know, there's a lot of times where I can be like, hey, look out behind you, and I try not to do that because it feels, you know, advantageous. But at the same time, it's painful. It's so painful to watch people when they're just like, they don't see the dude coming around the corner about ready to blast them. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's so right.
Yeah, you know.
Seeing Raven
There's
run
a few
around a
moments
flank.
where like there was a Reeves call, and I'm like, I'm a commentator. I'm
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
Reeve.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I cannot make that call.
Yeah, there's been a few moments where I've seen, you know, a spell ball or an arrow, you know, bounce off a weapon, and the guy who gets his weapon gets hit, he just doesn't notice it because it's in the middle of combat. And I'm just like, yeah, well, he didn't see it. The Reeves obviously didn't see it. I'm not a Reeve. I can't make a call, you know. But at the same time, it's like that would have changed the game, you know, because it would have prevented a point from being scored or whatnot. So it's kind of interesting to be able to see what's going on, but yet not be able to do anything about it, you know. But it's also really neat as a cameraman to be able to, you know, to spread it out to everybody, you know, because we don't have a lot of video being taken in AmpGuard. So it's really cool to be able to get the videos made and, you know, splice them together and then put them on the YouTubes.
Hey.
Put them on the
I
inner
do-
tubes.
I do
Joy,
enjoy
thank you
them very
personally,
much.
and on behalf of, I'm sure, everyone else, thank you for putting those videos up. Because
Absolutely.
this makes the game so much
Hey,
better.
Tony.
There's so much stuff that can go into looking at those videos, and we
Sure.
thank you for making it.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'd like to special shout out to Mr. Belew, who does all the editing. He does a incredible job. It's so good. Isn't that right, Mr.
Hey.
Commissioner?
Correct.
So special thanks to him, right?
Special thanks to him. And the official first season ball goes to
Oh, hold on,
Stack
hold on.
Deck with love from the commissioner.
Ah, look at that.
Hold on, we got him coming over.
Oh, we've
The
got the whole
boys.
team coming over.
Yeah,
the whole
we got to
team.
get the team come over.
Yeah, we got to get
I'll be opening up
Definitely
a poll
taking
for
their
everyone
time.
to vote on their season MVP. Don't vote for this guy.
Don't vote for Bane. Because it's Bane.
Look at that. That's sick. That's sick.
Bane coming prepared to shove the devil down everybody's throats.
Bane was doing that a lot.
At the other event, dude walked over to the bucket and he pulled my card out of the bucket and he started eating it in front of me, and I'm like, that's right, take me into your mouth. His whole team's like, oh, you got burnt.
Edit this whole thing out.
Or not.
Or not.
It's gonna be on there forever. It's fine.
Edit that part out too, and this one.
Okay. We'll fix it in post. It's
Sure,
fine.
we'll do it.
Also
Yeah,
edit
sure.
out this part, yeah. Sure, we'll do it.
Edit something out. I don't know.
Where's your team, guys?
Sorry?
It's like old
This is the microphone. Not right now.
Oh, okay.
Take it
You're
out,
live.
take
See,
it out, take it out.
here we go. Like so you can see our high-tech equipment. We've got a voice recorder inside of a red pouch thing of some sort as a windsock because, you know, high-tech.
I really thought
High-tech.
We're giving it to Dan.
Is that right?
Jenny, get the ball.
I really thought that was just a bag. And already
Nope.
was trolling.
No, it's a thing. It's real.
It's the deal of real.
So
Let's take
where's
this
this team
seriously.
handoff MVP thing going to be at?
Once Denny gets here. We're just waiting for them to get back.
Where is he?
Packing up to leave. So they'd go
Ah.
Why don't I have a steak and shake?
I'll be over there.
I don't know. You can give that
I
to
think you
me.
just took one.
I need a message.
I don't think there's anything on it.
There's a message.
I might have a steak and shake gift card of that caliber
Noah came
myself.
up to me. He was all like, "Here, he got this for you," and I'm like, "Cool." Guarantee there's nothing on here.
Here comes the rest of the team Stack Deck.
Yeah!
I feel like you're still missing one. Oh, there he is.
This was a true test of endurance. 2 championships in 24 hours.
We saved the hardest team for last.
Fair.
Congratulations as the winners of the first season. So you get the first season ball. With love from the commissioner.
He's captain the team, giving the team ball to Raven.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raven.
Yes.
Yes, Raven!
Stack Deck!
Stack Deck!
Damn it, it's a Nerf ball. It didn't work.
Any last words?
What a
Last
day.
words, think everything we left was off on the field.
Stay classy, Rising wins.
And we'll end it there.
No.
No?
The goal of this is for everybody to push harder. It's not to come out here and necessarily win. It's for everybody to come out here, no matter how they did,
Yeah, you tucked your chin.
and figure out what they could do better and then get better.
Rock on.
Our motherfucking W, son! Play Phoenix ball at Keep 2017.
Yes.
Can we be done now?
Yeah, let's be done. Bye.